What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So today's video, this one is probably going to be a long video. Let me tell you why. So for one, this is one of those instances where like I told y'all before, to try and do something, step out your comfort zone and do something you never did before. You may surprise yourself. Well, this is going to be that sort of a moment for me because of what I'm going to be installing today. Usually something like this I wouldn't even mess with. I would take it somewhere and let them do it, but I said screw it. I can't tell y'all to do it if I'm not going to try it myself. So what that is, so as y'all remember before, we go over here to the car here. We moved the access port. So like I told y'all when we moved the access port that we're going to, I have plans for this spot right here on this. So this right here. So we're going to be putting something right here and it's going to be used for monitoring the car, an oil pressure gauge. So now to get into that. As we doing that, this the reason why I say it's going to be a long video, because I want this to be a video where y'all can at least like follow behind me, or at least that's how I want to do it. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure it's that way. I'm gonna probably put chapters on it so you can, move around to whatever part you want to get to. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bench and let's see what we got. All right, so here we go. This is all the parts that we have. Now, I will be linking all of this stuff in the description. That way then you can get it and not have to worry about missing anything. At least I hope I'm not missing anything, because if I am, then I'm gonna have to go to the store. So we got the AEM, the oil pressure gauge. So it has a digital readout and analog as well. So you can check that out on there. But we'll see that whenever if we take the car out on a test ride and see how it does. So there's that. Comes with the wiring loom. Now, things that I ordered. I ordered this Permatech thread sealant. It's high temp. So the thing about this is it says you can drive it after 4 hours, but it said to get it, you want it to fully cure, and they said it takes 72 hours. So that means your car is going to be down for a while. At least my car is going to be down for a while I'm waiting for this thing to cure all the way before we go take it for a drive. So this video is going to be doing over a few days. But I went to the auto parts store, got me some fuses because I needed to get a 5-amp fuse. So the 5-amp fuse is what we're putting in this thing right here. And this is your adder fuse. Then I got the KillerBee dual sender adapter. So we got that, and then I had to get these two things off of Amazon, and it's this MPT and whatever all of that is. It's crazy, but you're gonna need these two fittings. Reason why. So to fit your factory sensor in there. So what's going to happen is you take this, let me take this out of the bag real quick. Take one of these out. So this is what's going to screw into your block. Once you screw this into the block, then you're going to need to screw this adapter into here. Once you screw that adapter in there, then at that point, you can take this is the AEM oil pressure sensor. This screws into this thing right here. And then your factory sensor, you're gonna put this on this side, and then you'll put your screw in your factory sensor as well. Let me tell you why that is. See, the thread patterns are different. So if I put this in here, it barely wants to fit in there at all. So that's why you need these adapters, and you're gonna need 2 of them. Now the gauge part I'm using is one that's been 3D printed. It was like 25 bucks. I thought about getting the SMY one, but I'm gonna try this guy out and see how it does. And then other than that, we just got to get started on all right, so at this stage of the game, we're gonna start with the putting in the oil pressure gauge and the well, not the gauge, we're going to oil pressure sensor. So we're going to take out this factory in which the oil pressure sensor is right here, right underneath the oil filter. Right underneath that housing is right here on the front of the engine. Right, if I can get my hand in here, which I cannot, right there. This is the guy right here we want to mess with. So I'm gonna peel this off of here, There's a screw holding it on there. We're gonna peel it. Seeing as though that we have to deal with giving the sealant time to cure, we're gonna start out right here, get this installed. Once that's installed and on there, and we're gonna let it cure, and then we'll move on to the next step. We're gonna peel this back, this little rubber grommet on here. Go. I'm just going to expose this screw that's holding that on there. And this is a 7mm. So let's work on getting that guy off of there. All right, I'm gonna try not to drop it. So we got that out. Then we're gonna need to get a socket around this guy. All right, y'all, so I had to use a 15/16 socket, and that fit right on there, just like that. And I just took it off of there, so it's not too dirty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up these threads right here a little bit, get all that trash off of there, and then we're going to get ready to put in the KillerBee adapter. All right, so now that I got this off of here, got it cleaned up, I had used this scribe to clean out the threads a little bit. But if you see here, as you see here, you put this in here, and it just, the threads don't go all the way in. It kind of stops. So that's why you use this thing, the adapter, and it screws all the way on there easily. So that's why we're going to use that. So now we're going to have to put this KillerBee adapter in there. So I've already opened this thing up. So this, oh my goodness, dang it. It came out faster than I wanted it to. Dude. Well, let's use the hands. Put it on there. Make sure we get it on all the threads here. Now, mind you, the threads should be doing most of the sealing around in the threads. The threads should be able to do it, but this is just a little extra protection. Make sure the base part is clean. And where's my rag? There we go. So now, let's screw this thing in here. All right, folks, we got it in there. Let's see if I can get the light on this. You can kind of see it, but there it is right there. Now, my goal with this is to have it one side down and one side up. That way then I can put the OEM factory sensor at the bottom. And then I can put the AEM sensor at the top, the way we can run the wires. But I turned it by hand till it got to a certain point to where it got a little tough. So that rest of the way, I felt like it needed one more turn. So one more like a half turn. So then I used a wrench, which what fits around it is a 13mm socket, and I put it on there and I spent it around again. You don't want to go too tight with this thing because you don't want to ruin the thread. So I got it to where I can't take it off by hand. So I'm gonna let that stuff cure that's in the block right now, or in this timing cover that is. Let it cure, and then whenever I start it, I'll come over here and take a look at it and make sure, see if I have leaks or not. If I do, I can always make it go. I can always, tighten it up. All right, so let me hit the setup here. So I got my 15/16 on there to give this thing a couple of more turns. So I put that on there, and while I had that wrench on there, I held this together with the 13mm so that it wouldn't move anymore. So that's in there. So now all I got to do now is put the other sensor on there, which, ooh-wee. All right, so there we go. Now my hope is that this thing doesn't leak, because it seems like you can get some more threads on it, but then again, you don't want to overdo it. So it's on there pretty tight. It's like barely touching. It really is only just touching the this little insulation here. But that's where we are. See, it turns a little easy there, man. I don't know. Worst case scenario, if it leaks, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it. I'm gonna have to probably take all that back off again, turn it, again, a few more threads in there, and then we'll be good to go. Like I said, I don't want it too close to this belt. So that's it for that phase. So now let's get into running our wire. All right, y'all. So to running the wire through the engine bay to get it into the cabin. So there's this grommet right here that was in the firewall. Put that right there. And if you look back there in the back, right there where you see that little beige part right there, that right there goes into the firewall, that goes into the cabin. So what I did is I grabbed a couple of zip ties, well, 3 of them, and I ran it through there to see where it would pop out at inside of the car, because I figured we can use that to run the cables, to run the wires through. So let me show y'all where it comes out at inside the car. If you look up there, that little clutch, master cylinder, slave cylinder, whatever it is, it's like right up there. And you can see right here, right above the carpet up there, if you can see it, I don't know. That right there is where it's coming from. That right there. So my plan is to bring the wires inside the car. I'm gonna tape it to this zip tie, and then I'm gonna pull it through till it comes through the engine bay. So that's what I'm about to do right now. I'll let y'all know if I have any sort of success with that or not, but that is the plan. So we're gonna run the wires that way till we can come up this way. So I got it taped to it, and I kind of folded it over so it'll kind of hook on there. So now I'm gonna slowly try and pull this bad boy through there and see what we got. So let's go on the other side here. All right, so here we go. We got the wire coming through the firewall, and it looks like we have just enough length to make it to the sensor over here. So all I got to do now is I'm going to snake this wire through all of this until I can get, and just to get it out of the way, zip tie it, then put it to the doggone sensor, and then I'm gonna go from there. All right, so there's the wire coming through the firewall right there. So I'm gonna zip tie it back there. Then right around here, I'm gonna zip tie it probably to one of these AOS hoses right here. Come around to the bottom down here. I don't know what happened right there. The camera just turned off on me, but I'm gonna zip tie this one right here. And then at that point, I should be able to zip tie it to this wire right here, and then along to this hose right here for this coolant hose right there. And that'll be it. Now, I still have to figure out a way to plug that up, so I'm probably gonna cut a slice through this, and then drill a little hole in the middle of this so that wire can fit through there. And then I'll put it back on there, and it should be sealed up pretty good. I might put a little silicone on there to seal it all the way up. But I'll do that after I test everything out, make sure everything works. Take this off. Do a little cover off of there. And we're gonna pull this guy out. And then we should be able to pull this whole little piece out right there. Yep. There we go. Okay, so now we got that off. What we gotta do next is get in here and figure out how we're gonna route the cables underneath here to find our ground and all of that stuff. But so let's see here now. This is my cable here. So this is the one that's going underneath the hood. So I'm gonna have to find somewhere to zip tie that up here, right there. And then the rest is going all the way up there. Now, let me squeeze myself out of here. Now, don't know if y'all can see that too well, but I ran it up through here, up through that little clearance up in there to get up to the gauge pod right here. So that's where that's ran. So then I ran the other wires down that side all the way down to right here. This is where that is, right there coming down. I tucked it in back there to where this is where my wires are. Okay, so now we are to the part where we have to find ourselves a ground. So my plan of attack is this right here, this bolt right here. And that's what bolts this bracket that holds your hood release right here. Right there, it's a bolt. Move that wire cable out the way. This, if y'all can see this, that guy right there, I'm gonna loosen him up, and I'm gonna put one of these guys on the wire that I need and put it right underneath that bolt and bolt it down underneath this. Now that's into the chassis, into this bracket. This bracket is metal, and then it's going into the, and it's magnetized. So it goes into there. That way then that'll give me my ground. So I'm gonna try that out for now, see how that works. And then the next thing we gotta do is our add-a-fuse. Now, what did I take off? I took this off. This thing right here, it just pops right out of there. You gotta be careful of it. I think pretty much you could probably twist that thing off of there and it'll come off. But if you put like a little pry tool in there like that, it should pop that thing right on up out of there. Once you pop that out, then at that point, it's just gonna be a matter of pulling this thing that way towards the passenger side. And this clip might get stuck in this hole still. Just take it off of there and slide it back on there. And you got that green one down here. Then from there, all we got to do is we got to do our little wiring, and then we can plug in the gauge pod, and then we can turn the key and see if we got power to it or not. So all right, fam. With this kit, only thing you're really gonna need on here is you're not gonna need the blue and the white wire. You're not gonna need those, so we're gonna push those to the side. So for this, we're only gonna be using 2 wires. It's gonna be our ground wire, which is the black, the red wire, which is our power wire. Now, the power wire is what we're gonna plug into our, that's what we're gonna connect to our add-a-fuse. Put our add-a-fuse on there. Once we put the oh my God, hold on. So like I said, our add-a-fuse is gonna go there. So let me tell you what fuse we're gonna be taking out of here. So it's gonna be from the second row from the bottom, and right next to this 15 amp is this 10 amp, this 10 amp. If we're looking at the fuse box thing, dang, can y'all even see this? Hold on, man. It may be too bright, maybe a glare. All right, so on this thing focuses. We're looking for the audio navi. So audio navi is right next to that 15 amp right here. I hope y'all can see that, dude, because I feel like this thing is blurry. But that's the one we're looking for. We're gonna put our add-a-fuse in there. Now, when you're using the add-a-fuse, you always wanna use a fuse that's bigger than the one you need. We only need a 5 amp to run the gauge pod. Excuse me, y'all. So this is a 10 amp, that's a 5 amp, and you always want to put the for the device that you're using, you want to put that one at the top. So the 5 amp is for the oil pressure gauge, and then the 10 amp is just going to be for the car, for the audio and the navigation. So we're going to plug into there. We're going to take this off of here, put it in this bottom slot right there. If y'all can see that right there, that bottom slot, we're gonna put that in there and then plug it in. And then from there, then we'll butt connect these two together. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in a room. I've been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I gotta gas, they running on fumes. Told on my bag, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lower, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and they dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the rise, it's real. All right, so now we get to see if all of this is going to work or not. So I got my adder fuse in there. Everything's all wired in. The sensor is plugged up. Well, yeah, the sensor's plugged up. And now, let me get the actual gauge and let's put it in there. And let's see if we can get some action. All right, so we got our gauge in there, kind of partially in there, plugged it in. Put the key in the ignition, turn it to the on position, and let's see what happens. There it is, it's working. So we are in there, dude. All right, so that is a win. So now, all I'm about to do now is I'm gonna start buttoning all this stuff up. But let me tell y'all something about this here, this gauge pod that I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, so now this gauge pod is the pod holder. It's freaking it's tight to get in there. So it's 3D printed. So I'm thinking it's more like press fitted, and that kind of hold it in place. So what you do is you get it in there as best you can. At that point, then you just start pressing it all the way in there. There we go. We are all the way in. At that point, then we got to run these cables. So now, the back of this thing has a little opening right there so that the freaking cables can pass through. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to modify it a little bit, maybe. Let me see here. But it is a pretty tight fit, bud. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut back some of this shielding so they don't have all that thick shielding on there to be able to reach through there. Because I still gotta get by all of that and then get by this part as well. So I'm gonna cut all of that off, this little shielding piece off, so that I can pass it through this part right here to run it inside of there the way that it doesn't have any interference. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time. Look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this brakes, I'm going in a new gig, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script. I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Hey, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone.
All right, so we got that and done. Hopefully we got to peel back enough. If not, we'll figure it out. All right, we're in. Now let's test this thing out, see if it fits on there good. So far, so good. All you gotta do now is make sure this thing goes right up in here like we need it to. Could be just that this thing is just not fitting in here right because it's 3D printed. Alrighty. Let me wrestle with this because the camera's in my way and I can't get in there like I want to, but I'm gonna put this in and then I'm gonna button up all of these wires and stuff down here. Make sure everything's cleaned up, nothing's touching or hitting on anything. God dog it. And then from there, I'll turn y'all back on. And all right, so here's that grommet. So what I did is I drilled a little hole in it, and now I'm gonna put a slice through it just so I can spread it apart, put it around the wire, and plug that hole back in. And that should be able to keep this thing tight enough to not let any water or anything, any debris get in there. Plus, it'll protect the wire as well. I'll get this here sharpened right here, and then we'll cut right on through it. There we go. So now I'm gonna get on back here and put this bad boy in there. So basically it's gonna wrap around the hose and then I'm gonna plug it in there, back there in the back. It's gonna be kind of tight back there. But I'm gonna do that, then zip tie all these other wires together in the engine bay, and then we should be good. And then I'm gonna have to wait a couple days. For me, it's gonna be 2 whole days. For y'all, it's gonna be seconds. But I'm gonna put y'all on a quick time lapse right quick, and then give this stuff in the block an opportunity to cure, so it's all the way dry, so we don't have no leaks, and then we'll be good to go. As you can see back there, the grommet is in there, and we are good to go. Got it zip tied right there, there, and there. Not my best cable management, but you don't have that much cable to work with there. So, all right, y'all. Got to work it with what you have. Here we are, day number 3. So now I'm gonna tell you, I put this stuff on here, man, and it still seems pliable, dog. So I'm just gonna hope it's not gonna leak. So let's go ahead and start this thing up. First, we gotta make sure that it does work fully. We know it comes on, but does it actually sense oil pressure or not? So here we go. We about to do the startup. Woo! Heart beating fast, y'all. What the hell? Let's see what we got. Let me go over here and look. I'll take y'all. I'm not seeing no leaks. Let's see if we actually getting something on the pressure gauge here. We're not seeing nothing yet. So let's just give it a minute. Okay, wait a minute. We got something happening. Kind of blinking a little bit. It's like jumping all over the place. So now, there we go. There we go. Now we up to 100 PSI. And this is a cold start. So I'm guessing that's fine. Let me see when it calms down. It's starting to calm down now. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, I'm excited, man. It's working. But it's gonna be some constant monitoring to see if we have make sure it doesn't leak or anything, because I tell you, that stuff is still kind of pliable, you know what I mean? It's still kind of sticky. So I'm gonna let this thing run a little bit, and then I'll turn y'all back on, and I'll tell you if I find out anything. But right now it's just trying to level out. I'm gonna let it warm all the way up. So it looks like it's kind of, the car is starting to, I mean, it's starting to come up to temperature a little bit. So as it does, it's steadily going down. So we have success, dude. I gotta tell you, man, I'm proud of myself, because I was nervous that this was gonna be something. It's something that was tripping me out a little bit about doing it, because like I told y'all, this is not something that I would regularly do. But like I tell y'all, man, try it out for yourself. You may surprise yourself. Really, like it's pretty warmed up now, so you can see the freaking the pressures drop down to around 19 to 20 psi, which like I said, I'm gonna look that up and make sure that that's correct. But from what I've seen, some of the research I've done, that's right around where it should be. And when you're getting on it, it'll get up pretty high. But like I say, now the oil is coming up to temperature. So yeah, man, successful, man. Well, there you go, y'all. When I tell you, man, this install kind of had me a little nervous, because like I said, it's something I ain't never really did before. But I had success with it. It came out really good. And like I say, I'm gonna drive on it for a while. I'll probably do a review video about it after riding on it for a couple of weeks, and be able to give you a little bit more data on what I'm seeing whenever I'm driving, you know, every day. That way it'll give you a little bit more information on what you need to look for whenever you're driving. But yeah, man, I am proud of myself, man. I did that one. Like I said, y'all can do this same stuff too. I'm sorry the video is kind of long, but like I said, I didn't want to miss any steps. I want y'all to be able to follow along with what I'm doing and be able to do this install yourself. Now that stuff, like I told you, that Permatech high temp sealant, it's still pliable, but it's not leaking. But like I said, if it starts leaking or anything, I'll let y'all know about it. I'm gonna be completely transparent with anything that happens and let y'all know what the deal is with it. So I'm not gonna drag this video on any longer. And oh, one more thing I want to do. I want to give a shout out to WRX Garage, because he did the same install, and I asked him a couple of questions, man, about the wiring on the one he had, because his is different than mine, but he gave me some really good information that I'm able to share with you guys today. So WRX Garage, thank you, man. You are awesome. So like I said, I'm gonna link all this stuff in the description if y'all want to get this same stuff as well. And hell, appreciate y'all for joining me, man. All my ass is that y'all like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever I put out a video. And until that next video, peace.